You ever play with Lego as a kid? I sell them in kits to build something cool. Once you get a few kits, you start building up a collection, and so if you want to be more creative and build your own design, you just pull from that. One time, somewhere near the Jurassic era, I was playing some multiplayer Lego game with some friends, building a house or something. I discovered one of my friends was randomly recoloring bricks, and when I asked why, he said, when you were a kid and you built things, you didn't have all one color, so you used a bunch of different ones. That was what happened, yes, but why would you actively pursue that aesthetic, of all aesthetic styles? Let me define the hideous modern aesthetic I'd like to call scrap Lego. Vehicles kind of suffer from it. Gamer aesthetic is similar but has a different root. It's rampant in architecture, particularly McMansions. Minimalism is beloved by many because scrap Lego is so common. Let me quickly oversimplify history first. Check out this picturesque, rustic village. Something primal in the human brain loves the feeling of returning to the home village after a day's work. Video games and standard fantasy are intimately tuned to this. Check out everything from ancient Rome and Greece. They had some seriously good concrete. Interesting side note, the recipe was lost for many years, and it's really good concrete. So they had the luxury of building massive buildings. The name of the game was holding up weight, hence support columns and archways everywhere. Check out medieval castles. The technology to make a nice hut out of wood was pretty well handled, but the problem was invading armies. So the name of the game was the ability to resist invasion. Wood was so commonly used that they had started to run out of it, so to meet the need for lots of material to resist invaders, they used stone. Observe all these beautiful stone walls. But how about some nice, modern, minimalist architecture? Clean, smooth surfaces, sharp, well-defined lines and curves, starkly contrasting colors. Mirror's Edge knows exactly what I'm talking about. Weirdly enough, Hartford Healthcare seems to know what I'm talking about as well. They have a bunch of these buildings, and they all look cut from the same cloth. Used to be, if you wanted to build a house, you'd put up some walls, put a roof on it, seal it up as best you can. Well, you wanted to build a massive, beautiful building? You better be some type of royalty or high-ranking clergy. Now we have cranes and forklifts and power tools and stuff, so mere mortals like you and I can have buildings that aren't just rectangles and pyramids. You want other stuff? Done. All this granted unprecedented architectural freedom, but it's like the field of architecture saw these engineering solutions and said, okay, good, the whole art section is solved, done. I get it. Being an engineer is much easier than being both an engineer and an artist. But you'd think that modern, soulless capitalism would create something nice-ish by accident. I would call brutalist architecture a beautiful way to pursue a utilitarian aesthetic. Properly maintained brutalist architecture looks great, but therein lies the problem. It's expensive and difficult to maintain a specific artist's vision. And even then, not everyone will agree it looks great. Or, if a naturally arising brutalist aesthetic isn't your bag, you could come up with a completely new artistic vision. And how will that turn out?
I have no idea!
This is anathema to shareholders. All they want is line go up, and they will sacrifice anything else to get it. Narrow appeal? Nah. High cost? Terrible. Risk? Get that shit out of here. This is how you get architects with no artistic vision. When designing a building, all they can do is push their shopping cart through the history of architectural art. Case study, Cumberland Farms. It wants to look like a farmhouse, hence the second floor bedroom windows. The architect went shopping in the history of architectural aesthetics and came back with a box of pseudo-rustic. But metastasized scrapped Lego was seen in McMansions. Don't you love that million roof peak skyline? Let's add more roof picks. Don't you love Roman columns? Let's have some. Don't you love that beautiful stone-walled castle? Let's have one wall. We should make it look modern with smooth surfaces. We can work one or two of those in. Alright, great. That's all the good things. Toss that in a blender, and what could possibly go wrong? architect isn't creating an artistic vision. He's checking other artistic visions off a list. He can't step back and see the forest because that's not his job. He just irrigates the soil. I'm sure you've already been bored to tears by soulless husks and custom-tailored suits talking about synergy, but it's a real thing in art. It just means that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Scrap Lego is when you combine whatever scraps you have left over and get the opposite of synergy. There's a few big names who of course get to be exceptions, but practically speaking, shareholders claim another victim. Beautiful architecture. The situation is beyond repair.